In this presentation we're going to take a closer look at the Level 1/2 award in constructing the built environment. The first thing to point out is that it is a vocational award, so it's not a GCSE, but its grading does have equivalence to GCSEs, and you can see from the column on the left hand side it ranges from Distinction Star, which is equivalent to a grade 9, down to a Level 1 Pass, which is the equivalent to a grade 3. There isn't an equivalent for grades 1 and 2 however, so if you don't achieve a Level 1 Pass you will get unclassified. The award is made up of 3 units. Each one is examined separately. Units 1 and Unit 3 are external exams, so you will sit an online test at the end of Year 10 and then a resit opportunity at the end of Year 11, and they will make up together 50% of the overall award. The other 50% is the developing construction projects, the practical element, which is internally assessed and then moderated by the exam board. I'm going to take a little time to look at each of the units individually and to outline what the requirements are and how they all work together to create the final award. Unit 1 is about safety and security in construction. There are 4 learning objectives listed on the left hand side there, but basically it looks at how construction sites are made to be safe and secure. So looking at things like the legislation that covers health and safety in construction, health and safety signs in construction, the colour coding of fire extinguishers, and then identifying hazards and risks and control measures which keep construction safe. The other part of that is the security element, so it's looking at the physical security of sites, things like putting up fences or using CCTV cameras or employing guards, as well as the security of information or data. So anything that a construction site might have, like national insurance numbers for employees or sensitive plans for buildings, that's the data side of things, and how do we keep them secure. The type of question you'll get often refers to pictures, so you have to look at the picture, identify perhaps which piece of legislation would apply in that instance, or what the hazards and risks are, and identify control measures, or identify the different safety signs or fire extinguisher colour codes. It's marked out of 60. It's a 1-hour online exam, but there is a paper you can sit as well, a paper equivalent, and it makes up 25% of the overall award. Unit 2 is about developing construction projects. It's what we refer to as the practical element. We will study 3 different practical elements here in school: carpentry and joinery, electrical installation, and plumbing. Each one is assessed separately and will be graded on a number of different aspects: how well you plan something, how safely you work, how well executed it is, and how well evaluated it is. So we have to be able to interpret technical information, in other words read plans and diagrams, prepare our tasks and know what requirements there are for that task, and then do the task and evaluate it. There's quite a bit of paperwork to fill in for the practical tasks. I can show you an example of a completed assignment here. You can see that at the top there is what's called the scenario. It's explaining what the project is all about and what you're asked to do. And then it goes through and we plan the stages, we identify the tools required and explain what they're used for. We work out how much the project is going to cost, and then we create what's called the success criteria. So what is it we're being asked to do, and how will we know that it's correct? Some examples of the work that we do: we have to create a frame to a given specification. We carry out some electrical installation work for a 13 amp ring main and a two-way lighting system for a porch in a refurbishment, and then plumb in a radiator for the plumbing. The tasks themselves have no scope for interpretation. You have to do what's on the specification. So there's no design work and you can't deviate from the specification. So we're examining how well you can fulfill the task and how accurately you can make it. You also need to do the evaluation. It's all part of the plan, do, review structure of the unit. Here's an example. And as you can see from this, it's a piece of open written text which outlines what you've done, what the success criteria are, and how well you think your product compares to the specification and the success criteria. And it's a good opportunity here to put some photographs of the finished product in to illustrate what you're saying, so you can compare it against what you set out to do and explain how well you think you've done. The final unit, Unit 3, looks at planning construction projects, and this is probably the most difficult one. It looks at different job roles within construction, different processes needed in construction, and understanding the order in which those processes must be carried out to create a successful project. In terms of the job roles, we have to understand what each of them does, what their responsibilities are, and what their outputs are, and how they work together, how each job role works together to create a successful built environment project. In terms of the processes, we need to know first of all what they are, but most importantly in which order they are likely to occur, so that we can plan a project and give appropriate timescales. And knowing what order they go in is very important in terms of the planning, but also the review of the project to see how successful it is and whether it's going to plan. As well as that, you'll be tested on maths skills, and about 25% of the exam is mathematics based rather than construction based. But the kind of question you're likely to get is something a little bit like this. So we're looking here at calculating the area of this space. So we work out how to calculate the area for each of the different sections, and we're working out the costing, but it's always set within the context of construction. So it's not like a maths exam where you might be asked to very specifically work out the area of this shape. You'll be given a context and you have to be able to understand what it's asking for from that context. So who's it best suited to? Well, if you want to go into construction, it's obviously an excellent opportunity to get a foot on the first rung of the ladder. Remember that 50% of the course is practical, which means of course that 50% isn't. And so there is quite a lot of written work to do, and there's quite a lot of learning to do. It's not a complete hands-on course without any written work to do at all. But it is a widely recognised qualification. It's an excellent qualification, recognised by colleges and employers for those people that want to go on to study construction. But you will need good English and maths scores to go on to any college course. But if you'd like to do practical work and you're thinking about going into construction, either as a practical person or as a manager or as a technical and professional person, then it might be something that's of interest to you. If you'd like any more information, please drop me an email or see me in school and I'll do what I can to help you. And good luck in your choices.